Good evening, everyone. This is the Carver Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the date of July 30, 2019. It's 7 p.m. We are in Carver Town Hall Room number 4. As is our custom, we address administrative matters first, and that takes me to the minutes from our last meeting of June 18, 2019. Again, as is my custom, I look at the minutes that have been prepared for us by the clerk, edit them, and then pass them out to, or send them out to the board members sitting here at the table, so that we can save time when we reconvene. So I ask each board member now whether they've had an opportunity to both receive and review those minutes from the meeting of June 18, 2019.
Yep, good.
I see that everybody is indicating in the affirmative. Does any board member have anything that they would like to change, amend, modify, or add to these minutes?
I do.
Okay, let's hear.
On page 1, the last paragraph, it says, Frances Mello mentioned that she
Yeah.
had followed up with the town assessor. It says 2014 and 2017. That should be 2004 and 2007.
Duly noted. Anybody have any objection to that change? Typographical error there that I should have caught. My apologies. Anything else that anybody would like to change? I don't hear anybody speaking up, so I ask if someone would like to make a motion to accept these minutes with the amendment just referenced by Board Member Mello.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes as amended are accepted. I would be remiss before I go further into the business of this evening, not to introduce the board members to those of you who may be watching at home. To my far left is Fran Mello, who comes to us with many years of business administration experience. To my immediate left is Eric Mueller, who also has had many, many years experience in the septic industry, owned his own business in Carver for a time, and now has moved up into a higher level management position for a larger company. To my far right is Alan Germain, who is our newest member, and some of you may recognize him as the chair of the Finance Committee, and also he sits on the Conservation Commission as well. We're glad to have him. And to my immediate right is the Vice Chair, Sharon Clark, who is the senior member of this board and has many years of experience, perhaps more than she would like to remember, as a title searcher, and can speak with expertise with regard to many land issues that are pertinent to business that comes before the board. Yours truly, I'm an attorney with a practice here in the town of Carver for many years. Now, the first matter for our review this evening is public hearing case number 52-1, the petitioner being Capeway Cannabis, Inc., requesting a variance pursuant to Article 27, zoning bylaw changes, Section 5000.5, subparagraph 2, location and dimensional controls, to allow a non-medical marijuana establishment within 500 feet of a religious facility. Property is located at 316 Tremont Street in Carver. The assessor's map is 127 lot 8-0-R, which is in a general business district. The chair recognizes that an email letter was sent by the attorney for the applicant, Edward Angley, who is present in the audience tonight. I'll read this short letter into the record. It says, on behalf of the applicant, Capeway Cannabis, Inc., I request a continuance of this case to your next meeting. I was only recently retained to represent the applicant and have not had a chance to review the matter properly. And this is signed Edward Angley, CC, to Kevin Huff. I assume Kevin Huff is the principal of Capeway Cannabis, Mr. Angley?
Yes.
All right. Do you have anything further that you'd like to add to that letter? And I want to thank Mr. Angley for advising the chair in advance of the meeting tonight that he was requesting a continuance. Does any member of the board have any questions, comments, or points of discussion that they'd like to raise at this time?
Do we want to set that date?
I think we vote on the continuance first and then set the date. Mr. Angley, would you like us to open this meeting and then continue? Or just reschedule without opening the meeting?
Why don't you just reschedule?
Okay, because as
But
you
it's
know,
up to
when
you.
we open the meeting, there are certain time frames.
Right. So I leave it to you. So you don't have to open it. Just continue it and open it when it comes up.
Okay, is everybody okay with that? That way we're not wedded to a time frame, a statutory time frame in which to act.
I would give you a waiver in any case.
Thank you, sir. But I will now accept a motion to grant the request for a continuance of case 52-1 to our next ZBA meeting, to be scheduled momentarily.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in-
Before you vote, I just want to make one point as far as the waiver is concerned, because we might need that. This was received by the town clerk's office on May 28th.
I don't know.
Well, I'm pointing out, it was received by May 28th, so we're getting kind of close to due dates, so I would like the applicant to submit a letter of waiver.
I will do so.
Thank you.
Okay. And based on that verbal representation, let's amend the motion to grant the continuance without opening the public hearing,
So moved.
but subject to the receipt of a request for that continuance in writing.
So agreed.
Okay. And I hear so moved from Mr. Jermaine. Second, please.
Second.
Any further points of discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So this matter now is continued without opening it, and now we need to talk about our next date. So I ask the board members to pull out their calendars so that we can decide when we will be meeting again.
Mr.
27th
Angley,
is the last
do you have
Tuesday.
any time frame upon which you need to
No,
consider?
when I looked, I didn't have it. I have nothing.
Okay.
So I went to Flaherty and Stefani and asked them to pull me up a plan so I could at
Okay.
least have a chalk that would be something that you could see. And so I think it'll take me a couple of weeks to get
Okay.
that, because Mark's on vacation.
Okay. It's 17th, February?
Let's start with Mr. Jermaine.
That would be
You're in September?
September, that would be 3 weeks from now, Mr. Angley?
That would be
August.
wouldn't it? August 20th would be 3
Oh, wait.
weeks from now. August 27th would be the last
Right.
Tuesday of the month.
I think the 20th should be enough time.
20th?
But it's up to you. I mean, I'm not,
Well, we don't want to reconvene on this case and then have you say, well, I'm still not ready.
I understand.
So, give yourself enough time.
So the 27th is the last Tuesday?
I'm gone that last week.
Take that apart.
Eric can't do it the 27th.
all right, the 20th is fine with me.
Mr. Jermaine,
I will be ready no matter what.
is that good, the 20th?
Yes.
Mr. Mueller?
Yeah.
Ms.
Yes.
Mello?
Yep.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
So our next meeting on this case will be August 20th. There will be no new public notice. This next date will be posted on the town website, so there will be public notice in that sense, but there'll be no advertising in the paper. And there will be no letters going out to abutters or any other parties of interest. So August 20 at 7 o'clock in this room for case number 52-1, the petitioner being Capeway Cannabis, Inc. Thank you, Mr. Angley.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in 3 weeks or so.
And my client notified the pastor at the church that was up the street that it was going to be continued, so.
We tried to get the word out when we found out, or when I found out that this was going to be continued, so I'm grateful that he was notified. The other matter on the docket tonight for us is case number 1-8.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
the lady that has her hand.
yes.
Mr. Gray, members of the board, I just have a quick question. So
Yes.
public comment will be postponed until August
Yeah,
20th?
I don't think you've been to one of our meetings before, have
I
you?
don't think I
recognize
have.
you. Hi, thanks for
Hi,
coming.
nice to meet you. Thank you.
My habit is, sometimes to the consternation of other board members up here, is to receive public comment from just about anybody and everybody who wants to talk, within reason. So the answer to your question is yes, there will be a public comment section after the presentation is made by the petitioner and after the board members have an opportunity to ask their questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You bet. All right. Public hearing case number 1-8. And I see here on the agenda that it says this is a continued matter, but I hasten to add at this point that this is not a continued matter. I think that must be a typo. This was added while I was away on vacation, and I assure everybody I would have caught that. But the petitioner in this case is the Carver Redevelopment Authority, which is requesting a variance from frontage requirements pursuant to sections 5222 and 2320 of the Carver zoning bylaw for property located at 0 North Main Street in Carver, which is at Assessors Map 49, Lot 61 in the General Business District. Now, my understanding is that the Vice Chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals, who sits to my immediate right and who's smirking right now, is going to be making this presentation. So in my role as chair, I request that she step away from this table and go into the spectator section, as all petitioners are asked to do, so that she can make this presentation. I also am making the finding that she must recuse herself in this matter, and I think she agrees with that. Is that
I
true,
do.
Ms. Clark, and the rest of the board? Yes?
Yes.
Yes? And everybody is indicating in the affirmative. So we will sit tonight to hear this matter as a board of 4. As a board of 4, and Ms. Clark, as well as Ms. Clark knows, in order for this matter to be successful for the Carver Redevelopment Authority, this board must reach a unanimous decision, because we sit as a board of 4, not as a board of 5. So having set forth the administrative prerogatives here for those at home, I ask Ms. Clark to say what she has come to say tonight with regard to this petition.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Sharon Clark. Right now, I am a member of the Carver Redevelopment Authority, and the Carver Redevelopment Authority has a responsibility of preparing for sale a parcel of land that is owned by the town by tax lien foreclosure. The process is completed. It's legally owned by the town through foreclosure. And that parcel was given to the Redevelopment Authority by the selectmen maybe 2 years ago or more. Attempts have been made to sell it. There's a whole process that we have to go through. And we're restarting the process again. And in reviewing the plans and the documents, we think there might be a slight issue of it, and I will give you some maps to look at and give you a brief history. This is number 61 on this plan. It's originally part of the Matthews Estates, which is Lillian Way, Ann Way. So this was originally drawn by the Williams brothers. It's also seen on this other subdivision map, which the subdivision is not, is this one here? The subdivision is not part of Lot 61, but it's just a better, yep. The one that's got my little tiny check mark on it. So it's not part, the second map is just a better view of the actual parcel, but it was not subdivided. Back in 1987, when Williams Brothers developed Matthews Estates for homes, they also subdivided a section of their land down It's Fuller Street, it's, sometimes known as North Main Street. It's a little cut through. If you look at the plan, Carver Glass is very near it on the corner of Lillian and North Main. This parcel slides just below it. There's nothing on it, there's never been anything on it. Williams Brothers sold it. Do you want to disagree with it? Williams Brothers sold it. The party that they sold it to eventually didn't pay the taxes on it, and it was taken for taxes. And eventually, there was a tax lien foreclosure a few years ago. All that documentation is with the file or with other members of the RDA aren't here today, and they have those files, but I can certainly get them for you if you need them. But it is owned by the town, and it is owned by the Board of Selectmen. We discovered that when it was subdivided back in 1987, it was a conforming lot in the commercial line. You'll see there's a line on the subdivision plan that should say, on the big plan, I didn't bring the whole subdivision plan, but this section is in the commercial district at the time. The commercial district back in 87, this was a conforming lot. Has 150 feet of frontage, 40,000 square feet, a little bit more. And
Now it's in the general business district, is that right?
now it's in the general business district.
So you need frontage, is that true?
I need frontage.
How much do you need?
50 feet.
And what is required is what?
In the general business district, I pulled it up right here. In the general business district, 200 feet of frontage is required. We could argue that this is a pre-existing nonconformity, but our concern is that when we go to sell it, if someone wants to develop it, there may be a hang-up with a bank who suddenly says, this is non-conforming, you need a variance.
Development into what? Is this
Well,
residential
but-
or
no,
is
it's
this?
general business.
I know it's general business, but do you
Okay.
see this being developed residentially or as a?
I don't know.
You're looking for 150 feet then on the
I'm looking for
variance.
50,
You've got how much now?
150.
You've got 150, you're looking for 50. So
I
you're
mean,
looking for.
whatever's allowed in the
So it's
general.
25% less than what's required.
Yes. Whatever's allowed in the general business district can certainly be put there. Then it has to meet all other setbacks and side lots and businesses, whether it's mixed use, residential. I believe residential can go in there. I'd have to look it up. But it's on the use table.
So whoever purchases this, if this goes through
Yep.
at this level, may have to come back before us for other dimensional variances. Is that
Depending on
true?
what they're building.
The 40,000 square feet is big enough for them to do anything with?
Yeah, because that's big enough in the, that's minimum lot size in the general business district. It meets everything except frontage. And like I said, because of the zoning changes, we didn't have a general business district when this lot was created. I've been trying to find when we started making those changes. I think the big change came around 98 and 99, and then we tweaked it by changing different lots and developing different zoning districts.
Did you say it was Williams Brothers that owned this before?
Yeah. It was part of their Matthews Estates subdivision.
And you also
plan.
said the redevelopment authority has been trying to sell this for a while?
We tried to sell it, before I was on the board, they tried to sell it before.
No luck, I take it.
There was a small snag with the legal end of it, and from what I understand, that's all been cleared up.
What do you mean illegal?
I think it was a typo, but the foreclosure documents make reference to the lot being 1.13 acres in size. It is not 1.13 acres, it's about 0.87 acres or so.
So it wouldn't be a
But
residential
you're
lot?
sold through map and lot is the way, you're sold through tax lien foreclosure by map and lot numbers.
Can you go over again, Ms. Clark, what's in the immediate vicinity of this particular piece of property?
I believe next to it is
Pieces right here.
being developed. There's a proposal before for 62A. There's a proposal in front of the planning board.
For what?
I don't know.
But what else is nearby there? I know that Quickies is across the street.
Right, and over here
And I
is the
think on
old
the
well
corner
company.
is
Now it's
Carver
an
Glass or
insulation.
whatever?
No, over.
It's not
Oh, right,
Carver
right, right.
Glass.
Right here is where the old insulation company used to be, and now
Right.
it's something else. They just
Yeah.
rehabbed the building, there's a little office building
Right, there's a little
on that
office
corner.
space and
So it's the land right beside
it's the
it.
land right beside that. We don't have anything on it.
Ms. Mello, do you have anything at this point?
If we gave you the frontage for this, it still wouldn't meet the lot requirement for a residential, correct?
In the general business district.
But it
So-
says you can put residential in the general
I'm not,
business.
no, I'm not 1,000% sure. Let me go to, we go to the use table
Yep. It says detached single-family dwelling,
under GB.
yes. But it wouldn't meet the lot size requirements.
But that's an RA.
Okay, well, what is the lot size requirement in GB? So you could put a...
40,000.
You could put a
Yep.
house.
Which you have.
Right, which we have. We have 40,837.
Yeah, it's as I said before, if this is going to be developed residentially at some point, they're going to have to come back before us for dimensional variances.
Well, if they meet
Not
50,
necessarily.
30, and 50, no.
It's going to be an undersized lot.
But not in the general business
Not in the
district.
not in the
That's what I'm
general
trying
It's
to
in the
say.
general, don't
They
think
can put a house
RA.
there.
So you can put a house there because in the general business district, you only need 40,000 square
Right.
feet. So anything that says yes under
Anything that says
GB.
yes is allowed. Anything that says SP is a special permit. Anything that says N is a big old no.
So granting this 50-foot variance makes this a buildable lot.
Granting this 50-foot variance takes away,
Conforms.
it makes it a conforming lot. Like I say, we can argue that this is a pre-existing nonconformity, but I'm not sure, we'd have to argue that with whoever buys it. They could have financing that says it's non-conforming. I mean, on zoning, we've had issues with people who've come before us before that have said, suddenly the bank says I'm non-conforming, so I need my variance for something. We're trying to, like, do a preemptive strike for this.
So this is not on the market yet, so to
So
speak.
we haven't put it on yet. We have
Was it
to,
put on the market at some other point in time in the more distant
it was
past?
put on the market, I believe, I've been on the board a year. Put on the market maybe 2 years ago.
Any offers received?
There was an offer received, but there was, when he did a plan, had a survey plan done of it, the buyer, whom I'm not familiar with, they discovered what they thought was a discrepancy between the 1.13 acres,
So they backed out of the deal.
and they backed out of the deal, until that was all fixed.
And what did
You guys
that buyer,
had certificate.
what did that buyer want to put in there,
I do not, I wasn't on the board.
Mr. Jermaine?
You had it surveyed recently though, didn't you? Wasn't that approved at a meeting?
Yeah, it was, well, we approved putting boundaries, cement bounds in the corner. And what the survey came out, the interested buyer went out and he did a survey and it came out to look exactly like this.
What is this little piece next to it?
That's a subdivision of the lot next to it. And I've just brought that plan because it's a little bit clearer view of our locus. But the little piece next to it is subdivided and that isn't ours.
I'll tell you what my thought is. I'm not prepared to make a decision on this tonight. I think I would like to go out and take a look at it. You know, Eric, you seem to indicate you're thinking the same way.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Hold on just a second, Frank.
Oh, sorry.
What do you think?
Is that little sliver owned by a different,
I don't know who owns it.
Ms. Dell?
Have you had a price put on the lot?
No. It's difficult to price because it's vacant land and we don't know whether it's buildable. It has to have the variance to be considered buildable.
Well,
it's a tax lien, there must be a value on it from the town.
yes.
The town is owed just north of $35,000 for the taxes. So whatever it's sold for, the first $35,000 off the top goes back to pay the taxes and the legal fees for taking it through tax lien
And what
foreclosure.
happens to the rest of the sale
The
proceeds?
rest of it goes to the redevelopment authority. If we're still in charge of it, then that goes into a fund for affordable housing, or it goes back to the selectmen and they can figure out what to do with it. We're just the conduit. We don't actually get to spend money.
Does anyone else want to go out and see it?
Yes.
I'll be happy to. I know where it is, and I've been by it a bunch of times, and I've kind of followed this a little bit, so I kind of know where you're going with this. I know what you need to do.
We have to, in order to sell it, we can't hire a real estate agent.
Right.
We have certain guidelines that are set out by the state for disposing of town-owned properties. So we have to get some kind of an appraisal. We know what the town has it appraised at. And then we'll come into something. Then it goes on a central registry statewide for sale. And then we'll see.
And it'd be advertised as a business lot.
It can be advertised as general business, and it's up to the buyer to do the due diligence.
Sure. I have no problem seeing the lot, Mr. Chairman.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments that they'd like to raise at this time?
Good.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to continue the case to the date of August 20, so as to allow us an opportunity to do a site visit. And, what? Am I forgetting?
I just want to make sure if there was anybody here who wished to speak on it.
I don't think there is anybody, is there?
Okay.
So is everybody okay with that?
So moved.
Before we go to vote on it, we should schedule a date for the site visit. Typically, we do these things on Saturday mornings. So I asked the board at this time to check their respective calendars once more to see what Saturday morning in the near future, but before August 20, works for them. Does this Saturday work for people?
I'm open.
Ms. Mello?
Yep.
Mr. Germain? Okay, so what?
I will have a 5-year-old with me.
You can't go. You need to recuse.
I'm
You
going
can't go.
to see the other side.
Well, we'll enjoy meeting the 5-year-old.
Yes. Miss
You
Arwen.
bring it, Ron?
Arwen will be with us.
All right,
So-
okay, is 9 o'clock good for everybody?
Yep.
Or would we like it later in the morning or earlier?
No, actually, that's
No,
good.
9 o'clock's probably good.
It'll be even better, but that's okay.
All right, so,
5:30 or 6 would work for me.
so at this point, I will entertain a motion to continue this case to August 20 to allow the board to conduct a site visit this Saturday, which is August 3rd.
Third.
At 9 a.m. And we'll meet a representative of the RDA at the site.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that will be what happens next with this case.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Clark, you may resume your seat.
Out of my chair.
Hey, he tapped the thing and told me to sit here. I do what the chairman instructs me to do.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is for correspondence, but the chair notes that it has received no correspondence other than the motion to continue or the request to continue that was filed by Mr. Angler in case number 52-1. So we'll go by the correspondence item on the agenda, and that takes us to what I would request of the board at this time, which is any questions, comments, or new business which it would like to raise. I don't hear anybody wanting to talk about anything new, so I ask if there is now a motion to adjourn this meeting tonight, July 30th, 2019, at 7:31.
Make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.